All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I'm your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am so excited today for my guest, Debbie Meyers from SKCAC Industries and Employment Services. Debbie, so happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Damon. I appreciate you taking the time to introduce SKAC to the world. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, because there's not many times that I get to talk about uh, businesses, nonprofits, whatever you talk it, that are helping people with disabilities like you guys do. And I really wanted to be able to highlight the great work you're doing, in the local Kent community, and then for others outside the community, hopefully in those people that don't live in the area where you could potentially help them, they're thinking about looking for those same places in their communities then and where they could contribute, or they could have a good symbiotic relationship with a business like yours. So let's start a little bit with, first of all, with SKCAC's background. You kind of tell me, how did it get started? Who thought it up? What was going on?
Oh, thank you. Well, and thanks for having me. And uh, I will tell you that I've been with SKAC for a long time, and so I tell the history before me. But SKAC's been in business as a nonprofit since 1967. So I haven't been here that long, but I've been here quite a while, and so I feel like I've grown up through the changes at SKAC. But uh, in 1967, families came together. Their adult children had graduated from the public school system and didn't know what they would do as adults, but they had some skills and they wanted to figure out, was there a day program or work or something that people could do? And so SKAC started as South King County Activity Center, because this group of parents came together, formed the nonprofit, and said, what can our kids do? And they started out with activities of daily living, learning to ride the bus, doing things, that you would want to learn to be in the community. But right away, they got a contract to do to clean and retip headsets for Northwest Airlines. And so people my age might remember what those headsets look like,
Yeah.
where younger people have not a clue. But
Yeah.
it used to just be a tube, a plastic tube with rubber tips on the end that you put in, and the sound traveled through the tube
Yeah.
that you plugged in on the airlines. And so we cleaned and retipped those for 25 years as our biggest contract with Northwest Airlines. And so right away, families, of course, weren't as involved in the process then, and hired an executive director, and of course had people running the program. But people were working. People with severe disabilities were able to work and get good work and work, 4 to 6 hours a day, and come to our facility and learn to be employees. And then, so it was a training facility. And then we started to help people to get jobs in the community. And over the years, now I'm fast forwarding, but over the years, really have changed our focus and support people to work in businesses throughout our area. And supported employment is the title for how we look at placing people in jobs with businesses that are willing to hire people with disabilities to do maybe not the full job description, but work with us to customize or figure out what helps their business. And then people are good employees. We support that ongoing. We don't go away after the placement. We stick around and we provide training. We provide the supports that's necessary. And we stick with folks. And like I said, I fast forwarded through 50 some years. We also continue to have a packaging and assembly facility. We no longer do the headsets for Northwest Airlines. Actually, when they started using electronic, the wires would get so tangled that it was cheaper to make new ones than to have us clean them because we couldn't untangle them.
Yeah,
so that went away. But we do other airline work for the catering companies for Alaska Airlines and others, and of course that's taken its toll during COVID, but we're hoping to get that work back. But we still have a full packaging and assembly facility located in Kent, and we do local work, but we also do work for companies in North Carolina and Florida and other places that drop ship to us, and we fulfill their orders.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit because I think that's really important to give people a good idea of the breadth and the types of work that you can really help them with, because you have a facility, I mean, you give a business a lot of options. If they want employees on site and they would like to look at a customized job description or customizing the opportunity for your employees so that your employees can be successful and they can be successful, that's one way you serve and help people. But the second way is because you have the facility, people can either bring product to you and you can do light assembly, light manufacturing kind of things, or those types of things. And I'll let you explain it better than I, but those are the two kinds of ways that you're helping people get their with their job opportunities, correct? Okay.
Yeah, so it's twofold. We still do employ people with disabilities in our own manufacturing and facility, but our focus, our nonprofit mission-based focus, is to help people to find jobs in the community in other businesses.
Okay. Really good. So what are some of the businesses where you see the most success for placing employees? Where have you had the most success overall? Is there a type of business? Is there or have you seen it across the board, or where have you seen your best success?
So I will tell you, for many years, there were limited opportunities for people with, especially people with severe disabilities that ended up, I don't want to say that because it's valuable work and people work hard, but we ended up, doing a lot of janitorial work, doing, grounds maintenance kinds of work, a lot of grocery stores, that kind of thing, which is all very good work, and we so appreciate that. We have people working in Safeways and Fred Meyer, and we have people that sweep at our stadiums here in Seattle for the Mariners and Seahawks and Sounders games, and it's good work. People sweep during the games, so those are all good opportunities. We also have people that have really wanted to work in other types of businesses, in manufacturing, in offices. We have people working, doing office work and a variety of opportunities. We have one man who has very limited physical ability that works solely from home, using his computer to actually communicate and to be a policy coordinator for an advocacy group for the state of Washington. So, it really runs the gamut of just like you and your neighbors or people that we all work in different fields, and we look for those opportunities in every business. Lots of people working at Amazon right now, but those are physical jobs that, I will say for some of our older job seekers, physically, it's just like, I'm not probably going to have packages as well as I did, 20 years ago. So we look to continue on that spectrum with people as they have worked maybe at a grocery store for 15 years, and now they're ready to do something different, and they want to, work in a movie theater, or, I it's just open to what we, any business that's ready to talk to us, we're ready to help them to figure out where people can work and what they can do.
Well, this is so interesting because we were talking before we got on, and you said that for people with disabilities, it's about a 70% unemployment rate, right? And so if that's the case, and everybody under the sun has a "we're hiring" sign in their window now, this is something that could be an untapped resource that people really should be listening or should be considering, because let's face it, restaurants can't open on days, grocery stores. I heard that, what the heck was someone saying? Something about a Six Flags location wasn't going to be open a couple days a week because of this. I mean, come on, let's be smart here. If we have a workforce that's ready, able, and willing, but we just have to put a little work into it, it's well worth it.
Yeah. And David, I so appreciate you saying that, because I think businesses, we hear a lot about, and we too have trouble hiring, right? And you think about this untapped resource that, in every state in the United States, there's a vocational rehabilitation state agency. It's mandated from the federal government.
Okay.
And every employer could reach out to their vocational rehabilitation in the state of Washington. It's the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, and find out where to find organizations like SKCAC to hook them up with people with disabilities for employees. So
because
thank you for bringing that up.
As you were talking about this, I mean, what you're really doing, and you said before we got on a couple things, and I want to bring this up, and I'm going to call some businesses out here, because I think there's a lot of stuff that gets talked about, but people with disabilities get left behind. Because you mentioned this, and this really hit home to me. It says we talk about inclusion, we talk about diversity, we talk about all these people should have rights. Everybody should have rights. But who talks about the people with disabilities? We don't hear that. And we need to be listening to that. We need to be thinking about that, because as we were just discussing, if there's 70% unemployment in a group of people that could help your business out, and you want to be more inclusive, you want more diversity, this is a great way to do it. And like you said, it will require some work, more than likely, to customize the job description for this person to be able to have them do the work and do an effective job. But again, in a lot of places, it means either being able to be open and do something you need to do to make money or not. And if you have employees that are, and we were talking about this before we were on, if you have an employees or a group of employees that are overworked, what if you re-engineered what they're doing to help hire some people with disabilities to assist in whatever way was appropriate, to offload some work from them to be able to do more with the people you had? I mean, it makes zero sense to me that your door and your phones aren't lighting up and your emails not filling up with people all over the Kent Valley. If anyone wants to know where SKCAC is, it's in Kent, Washington. And there are, literally, before we got on, within 3 miles of your facility, I am sure there are 1,000 job openings that your people that you're trying to help find gainful employment. Employers want good employees. Right. If they were able to come to you and work together, you could probably fill all the people that you have that would be able to, that you would want to place, would be in places of employment. So
I need to take you with me when I go out pounding the pavement.
No, I tell you, there's some of the stuff that just, it makes me crazy. I mean, it makes me crazy. A couple days ago, I had a gentleman on the show that entrepreneur, does a business. He's a Apple. He buys and sells Apple devices, buys them, used ones, refurbishes them, and resells them or upgrades them, that kind of thing. And we were talking about underserved children, and because one of his philanthropic causes is he upgrades devices, and people can send him their devices rather than selling him the device. They can say, okay, here's my iPad, I don't want it anymore, refurbish it and give it to somebody. And he's got a whole process. I mean, I get passionate about this stuff because we're sitting here today. We're sitting here today. We can't hire people, everybody under the sun. And I mean, how many people do you talk to a day? I talk to a day. All my friends talk to, anybody in business. They say, we can't hire people, but we're not looking at people with disabilities. I mean, you're in Kent. They could help you. There's, like you said, call the vocational rehabilitation department in Washington State. They could get them at the local resources. I know there's people north, there's people south, there's people east. There's places to go to find people to help, because that is how you can solve some of your labor problems.
Yeah, I think really, if businesses, and we need to get that word out there. And I appreciate you taking this platform to do that, because really employers are in a tough spot right now.
Yeah.
And we can't get to everyone to help them out, but if they start knowing that these resources are out there and that there are people that actually want to go to work and are ready to work and have supports that come with them, and we make it pretty easy. We help develop the job. We help support the person to with the training, and we stick around as long as the employer feels like we really need to be there to help the person to be successful. And a lot of times that's a while, but sometimes it's rather quick. I told you about someone I was with last night that she was doing fine by the end of her shift. So it just depends.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that the hesitation or the unknown factor in it, I mean, we have to dispel that, because you're there with your people out there helping those employees be successful in those businesses until the employer is comfortable with that situation. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, I mean, you don't get that with somebody else you hire off the street. Mm-hmm. And it's I just think it's a win-win. I look at what you're able to do in the community. I mean, how many people have you helped to place? This is just one. How many people have you helped to place, you think, over the time that you've been at SKCAC?
Oh my gosh. Well, I should probably know the statistics to be on a show like this, but we have about 125 people right now currently in our services, actively either job seeking or in jobs, and I've been with SKCAC for 40 years. So in that time, I've seen a lot of people be successful. We're still working with some people that have actually retired. We have a small retirement program as well to help people to stay connected after they are done working, and we connect them to the senior centers and other activities.
Wow.
I wish I would have known about your guy with the Apple products at donations. We, during COVID, really had a difficult time reaching a lot of our participants, and wanted to continue with job seeking, at least, building resumes and doing activities for people to be ready to work when COVID was over. And so we ended up buying several Chromebooks for people to be able to. People didn't have devices. Then of course we found out, even in where we're at near Seattle, in these areas, that people didn't have internet access. So it would have been cool to be able to connect with him. But now people are getting back to work and giving me back the Chromebooks. I'll have a little pile of Chromebooks.
There you go. Well, I think so. So you've been at this more than a week or so, and what really brings you back every day? Why is it that you just love? I mean, because honestly, you gotta love it to be there a bit over a week like you have. So
it really is the people, and the people that you know, people and their families, and to see, what families go through in supporting their child, their adult child, to just be included in our communities, just like everyone else. And when I first came to SKCAC, I was fresh out of college. I was just going to get some experience and move on, whatever. That's how you always think, when you know everything. And I got here, and I just saw the potential in people and the businesses that we worked with, and just saw that we could do more for more people. And I've always wanted to do more. And I think that, we continue to evolve, just like we used to do on site. Everyone was segregated here at our facility, but that was a step, right? It was a stepping stone to, the community where people are now working in Amazon and City of Kent and Duke's Chowder House and Mod Pizza, and all the places where people work and are successful. And that just keeps me going every day. And just what you were saying is, there's so many employers that just don't know the resource, or that there's people with disabilities that want to work. They're good employees. People show up. You hear that too, that employers have trouble finding people that'll show up the next day, let alone, on time and next week. The biggest trouble our folks have about showing up is transportation. So if they have limited transportation, we work with them on that as well. But for the most part, a job seeker with SKCAC is going to have the supports to show up the next day and the next day, and they're going to keep coming back. And even through the pandemic, we had people, essential workers, Amazon, Safeway, all the different, essential workers. We were there. They were there.
Awesome. So inside your facility now, I want to highlight what you guys do there too, because I think that's a real opportunity that many manufacturers in the area don't understand or don't consider. Because say they don't really have the opportunity to put someone to work from SKCAC that's looking at that stuff, but they might have an opportunity to offload some work into your facility that does the same thing by doing that. So what are some of the kinds of things that you guys do in the facility there that we could share with the folks today?
Yeah, so we do all types of packaging, assembly, and fulfillment. We sort of specialize in sort of some of the manual packaging and assembly, or labeling, things that we start out sometimes with small businesses that, people have been putting stuff together in their dining room or their garage, and they want to go a little bigger, and we take on those projects and get that work out the door for them. But then we also work with large manufacturers, and there's a piece of something that they do that they just need it done, through whether it's kitting or wire harnessing. There's some work we do on drain hoses, that it's this one little coupling that has to be put on the end that a machine can't do. And those kinds of things are good with, we're good to do those. But we also we do a lot of shrink wrap. We have a large productive shrink wrap machine that one person can operate and run a lot of work through. We also do a lot with box manufacturers, putting cardboard bundles together, those kinds of things. So you can think of kitting and then fulfilling orders. The materials are drop shipped to us, and then we can fulfill orders for their customers. And so it's really a variety, but we have um, kind of that little, groove that we're in, that we can do some of the manual things that that you know still
Mm-hmm.
take a person to do. I guess is what I want to say.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. Hey, I've been in facilities like yours, and I think it's a very valuable thing. I mean, I can remember years ago in some of the companies that I ran. I mean, when we weren't in an area where we could do this, we actually had employees would take home stuff and take these 5 things that have to go into a bag together,
Yeah.
or you got to bundle 2 or 3 things together, and it's really what you can do is you can take those 5 things. They can be put together just like you want, and it could be set in the package alongside the rest of the stuff like that they ship to you too. And then, like you said, it's palletized and goes off to a distribution center, and away you go. And you even mentioned too that because of the location near the Seattle port, you guys have things that come in from offshore, repackage that as well.
Right. We receive for a company in North Carolina. We receive their cargo through the port here, and then then all that they just everything's just in boxes on the containers, and then we palletize, label, and prep it for their to distribute here in this area. So
yeah.
They need us to be on this side of potentially to do that.
Yeah, and that brings up a good other point that I just thought of as you said that. I know a lot of manufacturers are products are made offshore, and say I'm going to be putting these things in an FBA kind of location with Amazon, and they may not quite be labeled right. That might be a good thing where you put the right barcode labels on them so they can be received by the Amazon FBA locations across the United States. I know it's a big, in some of the clients, the e-commerce clients I had, it was quite a process to actually, to get your supply chain changed over and your packaging changed correctly. And sometimes it's not the option for the person buying the product because it may be sold to 17 different companies around the globe, but you still can't get your packaging or your products into an Amazon FBA location without the right UPC code. So, yeah,
we do a lot of that kind of rework. Sort of how it looks when it comes, or it's even to the point where the customer needs it to have 12. We just did a job not too long ago that was 12 little cards within this holder that was inside of already in a box, but they put 10. What do you do then, right? You can't start fresh. It just took 2 months to come across the water. And so they hired us to open those boxes, put 2 more cards in, close those boxes, palletize, label, and get them back out. And we're able to do rather than start fresh with something that so those kind of rework things are great for us as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, because these are just great examples, I think, of how you're helping companies stretch their labor further, be an extension of their labor that really gives them more capacity, and also pretty much saves their bacon in some cases, because like you said, you'd have to start all the way over, and that might take 2 months to get it here, where you're able to rework it and get it out to the customer like they need. So,
well, and outsourcing during this time when businesses are having a hard time finding employees, outsourcing is definitely an option that we can help with.
Yes, that's for sure. And so if people are just listening now, I'm talking with Debbie Meyers from SKCAC, Industries and Employment Services in Kent, Washington. I want to make sure everybody knows where it's at, because if you are looking for employees, the SKCAC will help you provide opportunities for people with disabilities in your business, or there may be work that you want them to complete. as part of your business that could help your employees do more inside your company. So I think that I want to just say one more time again, there is a 70% unemployment in the population of people with disabilities. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for people to take the initiative to work with someone like you guys to customize the job duties or look at what you can do in your facility to help the company produce more or achieve their goals, because the job market's not going to change anytime soon. I mean, we're not producing more people somehow magically coming to fulfill all these jobs. I mean, it's going over time. We'll figure out what we're going to do, but this is a good, solid, long-term solution. And like you said, you are there helping the employee with the training, making sure they're successful in those businesses, and you work with the employer until the employer is comfortable that employee is going to be able to handle their job duties successfully.
Yeah, that's what we do, and there's no charge to the individual job seeker or the employer.
Yeah,
it is supported by our state and county funds. So,
nice.
Our work is to help people to be employees and to become taxpayers, and it all works out, right?
Yeah. Oh, it does. I mean,
whole gamut.
Yeah. It's incredible, really, because listen, you're helping people and you're helping businesses and you're doing a great thing for the community. I mean, because if resources weren't available for you, at least the people that you can help find opportunities are in those opportunities. They probably wouldn't be otherwise. Yeah. So even though you want to help more today, you've helped an awful lot already. Yeah. That's one thing I want to say, because we all look at, we aren't doing enough, but sometimes you just got to say we've done a lot and not be thankful for that and move forward and try to do better. But I do have one question for you that I think you're probably not going to think that I would ask you. If you had no limits, what would you really like to see for SKCAC to be able to do?
With no limits, huh?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
I mean, do you think that, we look at all these companies, I look at where, in the Northwest here, we have companies that spend billions of dollars with a B in, I won't say it's, I'll use the word questionable stuff. Some of it's kind of frivolous, whatever you want to say. I have to say that if you had someone, was to donate 10 million, you probably could do a bit of good with that. So let's just think about, would you build out the facility that's more inclusive to be able to help people be more productive? What were the kind of things, or would you, what if you had it in your mind, could just imagine something, what would it be?
Yeah, and maybe it's a campaign or something along those lines, but I really just, if it was unlimited, to just be able to open every door at every business, right?
Yeah.
For one person with a disability to have an opportunity. Every business has an opportunity, however small, however large, whatever kind of work. There's an opportunity for someone with a disability that we could help you figure out. And with a bunch of money, I suppose we could throw more money at that, but really it's those doors have to open. We just have to be able to be let in, and we're a friend to business, but it's hard to get past HR or to get past the front desk or to call, and it's just hard, and it shouldn't be that hard. I think it should be easier than that. Really know what you do, what we do, and it is maybe different. People my age and older didn't even get to go to school with people with disabilities, right? To a special school. So, but people younger than me, they've been in public schools that are included, they've included people with disabilities. It's not scary.
Yeah.
It's what we as human beings should care about each other. And
Yeah.
and I'm not asking businesses to do anything that hurts their bottom line.
Yeah.
This actually helps their bottom line.
Yeah.
There's evidence that people coming in a customized, supported position with through our programs, not just our programs, but similar programs, it helps morale. It helps other people kind of step up and say, well, gosh, if so-and-so can do that, and boy, he's got some challenges, but he's here every day, he's doing his work. And it sort of helps everyone to feel that way. And sometimes we do things what is in our world is, and in manufacturing is sometimes is the universal design of things. That's something we put in place, maybe color coding or organizing something a little differently for success of a person that we're supporting, helps everybody. Then everybody knows where it goes, and everyone starts to do it the same way. So, there's real advantages. We just opening those doors.
Yeah. Well, that's super cool because we did not rehearse what you just said. And I just thought it would be interesting to hear what you said. And what you said, the biggest thing, if you had known this could do, would be people just to open the door to talk to you. Now, if anyone's listening, I don't know why you wouldn't at least do that, because opening the door, what's it gonna? It could hurt. It could help you. Yeah. That's all it could. So, I think that if we can do anything today, we can bring awareness to the fact that there's resources like SKCAC helping people with disabilities find gainful employment in businesses all over the Kent area, and through the vocational rehabilitation centers across the United States, you have these resources in your area that you should be utilizing if you aren't today. Because if you're sitting complaining about you don't have employees, you may not have a reason to if you visited one of these places and started working with people and really looking at your business and how it could be more inclusive of people with disabilities. Because again, 70% unemployment in groups with disabilities. The employment problems aren't going to go away tomorrow. And you could be finding an untapped resources for employees. And I know that is kind of a panacea for a lot of employers if they could find untapped resources. Because if I would have asked the same question, if you had no limits, what would you do today, to a lot of business owners say, I would have all the employees I need. That's all I need. Right. And we're giving them that opportunity to maybe find a few of those and maybe get a little closer to that goal. So that was a really long answer to your great answer to my question. That's all I'm saying. Cause I just want people to understand it's just open the door and talk to you guys, or reach out to SKCAC in Kent, go to the website, skcac.com or org. It'll get you there either way. And, give them a call. And it's something that you will be very surprised as to how the process works, how beneficial it can be for your business. So,
well, and Damon, I should probably say, to keep my job as the executive director of a nonprofit organization, that if anyone has $1 million or so to just drop on my doorstep, we are willing to take it.
Yes, you do take donations, and it is, yeah, you are a nonprofit organization, because that would only help you to further your cause and to be able to help more people. And I think that too is, if people do want to donate, I think it's a great idea to do that. And I do, though, for the as well, for the long-term success of the people with disabilities. I just hope that people listening and anyone that's just opens the door, open the door and start talking. So are there, I won't put people on the spot like that. I was going to ask if there's any people at any companies you needed to, that we would like to open the door for, but I won't go publicly and do that. I should.
We actually are talking with some really large companies
Mm-hmm.
recently that are local to our area that really want to do something and are figuring it out within their organizations. And I so appreciate that because it's not easy sometimes with bigger companies that have to figure out HR and if there's a union or whatever there, but we can figure it out. We just have to talk about it usually and be willing to work together to figure it out so that companies can include people with disabilities.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're 100% right. And it really is just taking a fresh look at things and figuring out what makes the most sense for everyone involved. And I'll guarantee a couple things is that if you can bring some people in with disabilities to do that work, and the businesses are more successful because of it, they'll never regret that decision. And otherwise, you can sit here and try to hire people like we hear the horror stories of the signing bonuses and everything else to get people that don't show up the next day. So, well, it's been so awesome to have you here today, Debbie. I'm so glad we got to do this because I love the cause. I love the fact that you're putting people to work and allowing them to giving them the assistance first of all, but B, taking the time and really working with them and their employers to make sure it's a successful outcome for everyone. So
I so appreciate you helping us with our message. It really takes all of us to care, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to make sure we could do what we could. And so if anyone wants to talk to Debbie, SKCAC, Industries and Employment Services, Kent, Washington, skcac.org or com, either one, it'll get you there. Give them a call, talk to them about it. They will come to your facility. They'll talk to you about the positions you're thinking about. You'll work with them to customize the job descriptions to help be inclusive of people with disabilities. And you can maybe put those employment or employee recruiting problems behind you. So if we could do that just with two people, wouldn't that be cool? Two businesses today. Awesome. It'd be awesome. So I just want to say thanks again, Debbie, so much for being on here today. Thanks everyone for listening to the Faces of Business today. I just appreciate your support. I'm so grateful that you listen to me banter on with great guests and try to stumble my way through it and share their story. But thanks so much, everyone. We will be back again next week with more great guests talking about more interesting topics, I hope. So